You've felt it your entire life. You walk into a room, and everyone else just knows. They know what to say, when to laugh, and how long eye contact should last before it becomes a felony. Like they all attended some mandatory Human Being 101 seminar, and your invitation got lost in the mail. Meanwhile, you're out here mentally rehearsing, "How was your weekend?" like it's a TED Talk. Here's what no one tells you. You're not broken. You're not failing at being normal. Psychologists call this divergent cognitive wiring, which is a fancy way of saying your brain got the deluxe package. While 90% of people run on group harmony software, designed to blend in, follow patterns, maintain status quo, you're running something rarer. A system built for spotting patterns others miss, diving deep while they skim surfaces, and asking, "But why?" at profoundly inconvenient moments. You don't fit in because fitting in would require you to uninstall your most valuable quality, the ability to see the glitch in the matrix while everyone else is just enjoying the steak. The manual mode paradox. To understand why social interaction feels like diffusing a bomb in a language you don't speak, we need to talk about processing style. For the normies, the neurotypical majority, socializing runs on autopilot. They don't think about their facial expressions. They don't calculate their body language. They just vibe. It's automatic. But you're running on manual mode. Every smile, every nod, every haha, totally, is a conscious, calculated decision. Psychologists call this camouflaging or masking. You're essentially an undercover agent in your own life, constantly observing the natives, mimicking their customs, trying not to blow your cover. And this explains why, after a 3-hour dinner party, you don't just feel tired. You feel like you need to lie in a dark room for 3 business days to reboot your operating system. It's not that you're antisocial. It's that socializing for you is a full contact sport, and everyone else is playing tag. It's like you're performing a one-person Broadway show called "Look at Me, I Am a Normal Human," and the reviews are exhausting. But here's where it gets interesting. You probably think you struggle with small talk because you're awkward. Wrong. You struggle with small talk because it's the conversational equivalent of watching paint dry. Except the paint keeps asking you about traffic. The depth addiction. There's a psychological concept called need for cognition. Some brains are satisfied with surface-level data. The weather is nice. Did you see the game? Gas prices are up. It's not about information. It's about tribal bonding through the sacred ritual of saying nothing. But your brain? Your brain craves data density. You want to talk about simulation theory, the ethical implications of AI, whether free will is real or just a really convincing screensaver, or why we exist. When someone asks you, "How about this rain?" your brain files for bankruptcy and runs out of dopamine. You physically recoil from the shallowness of it. You aren't a snob. You're intellectually hungry. Trying to force you to enjoy small talk is like trying to feed a lion a diet of iceberg lettuce, and then asking him how he's enjoying the texture. It's not just unsatisfying, it's starvation. You don't fit in because you keep trying to deep-sea dive in a kiddie pool, wondering why everyone's mad you brought a wetsuit. But there's a darker reason why groups often reject people like you. And this is the part nobody wants to say out loud, because it makes everyone uncomfortable. The Cassandra complex. Groups are designed for one thing: cohesion. To keep the tribe together, everyone has to agree on a shared reality, even if that reality is, well, wrong. But because you have divergent wiring, you lack the conformity filter. You see the elephant in the room, and worse, you point at it with a laser pointer. When the boss proposes a terrible idea and everyone nods, you're the one who raises your hand and says, "Wait, the math doesn't work." You think you're being helpful, but to the group, you're the guy who pointed out the Titanic has a leak while everyone's enjoying the buffet. Psychology calls this the black sheep effect. The group doesn't reject you because you're wrong. They reject you because you're disrupting the vibe. You value truth over harmony, and in a world built on polite fictions, the truth teller is always the villain. You aren't being exiled because you're defective. You're being exiled because you're the only one awake. So if you've spent your whole life trying to sand down your edges to fit into a round hole, stop. You're not a square peg. You're a completely different shape the hole wasn't designed for. And that's the point. The scout archetype. In evolutionary psychology, there's a theory that humans evolved two types of minds. There are the settlers, the people who build the village, follow the rules, and keep the fire burning. And there are the scouts. The scout is supposed to be on the fringe. They're supposed to be alone, on the hill, looking for threats, new territory, the future. If the scout tries to sit by the fire and knit with the settlers, they'll be miserable, they'll be clumsy, they'll feel wrong. You're a scout. Your awkwardness isn't a bug, it's your immune system rejecting groupthink. You possess cognitive liberty. Because you don't care about fitting in, you're free to think things that are unpopular, strange, and revolutionary. Every major advancement in human history, art, science, technology, came from someone who didn't fit in. Someone who stood outside the circle and said, what if we're doing this completely backwards? So, here's the conclusion. Stop trying to get the settlers to understand you. They can't. They speak a different language. Instead, go find the other scouts. They're harder to find because, well, they're also usually hiding in the corner at parties, pretending to check their phones or avoiding parties altogether. But when you find them, you won't have to mask. You won't have to rehearse your Human Being 101 script. You can just skip the small talk and go straight to the deep end. You were never meant to fit into the puzzle. You were meant to design a new one. So stay on the fringe. Stay weird. The settlers get the campfire. You get the stars. The view is better from here anyway.